Hey everybody, how's everybody doing? Steve got a pool here on this rainy day. I'm here with my wife. She's on the camera. I'm getting ready to install this liner here. Um, this is going to be a little different than what you're used to seeing because I'm actually installing a liner for a different company, and they asked me to come in and help. They had a seam separation, so we've already kind of gone through and cleaned all the old debris. This is actually I think they call it a shotcrete bottom, and it's similar to like cement. It's not the type of bottom that we use. I think they had the liner rolled up backwards here. So let's see. They had the arrow with the arrow there facing that way, but the stairs are on this side. So I'm guessing they just rolled the liner up or labeled the liner backwards. So, because typically on the box, my wife can maybe show you somewhere on the box, it actually says shallow end facing deep. So that was the way I put it. And then I unrolled it and it was wrong. So hopefully the liner's not made wrong. But anyway, so it's very important, I feel, as an installer to have these liners kind of whoa, slippery when wet. All right, everything looks normal here. It was just kind of on the wrong side. So when you're setting a liner, I feel it's super important to always take sharp items out of your pockets. Make sure that nothing like that. So this particular liner, I'm gonna actually I'm gonna open up pretty much the whole, like down to the break here. And the reason I'm doing that is because if you can see right here where I rolled the liner out on the break, I'm real close to the stairs here, so I'd prefer to have this liner out of my way. And by doing that, I'll just kind of open it up. I don't want to go all the way. It's raining still. People always wonder if you can install liners in the rain, and most will admit that it's not optimal by any means, but it can be done in certain temperatures, conditions. You know, like I said, this is a shotcrete bottom where the bottom's pretty much already done out. So we'll just kind of open that up a little bit, and we'll go back to setting the liner on the stairs. It's real wet, so I just kind of want to be careful walking. At any point, I could slip and fall and embarrass myself on national television, international television. But all right, so let me grab my famous Big Red, which I feel is the most important tool in the company. It's basically a rounded screwdriver. It's a big, it was a flathead screwdriver. So I've already gone and wiped everything down real good. I'm going to pop my shoes back off now. And the reason is because I'm going to lift the liner up. And what I want to do is put my toe in the pocket where the liner is down there in the bottom of the stairs, and just kind of get that liner in a rough spot where it wants to be. And then I'll move the stair line up. And just kind of get the liner in a close spot of its final resting spot. Of course, with the rain, the liner sticks to the bottom really good, so it's kind of hard to move it around. So like I said, these aren't optimal liner installing conditions, but can be done. Alright, so there we go. So that's closer. We're almost close to the point where I would be using hot water to install this liner. Hot water works great in certain cold temperatures when the liner's just not moving the way you want it to. So we'll just kind of get it started, and I do have some videos out there explaining how the liner clips in, but basically it's hard to explain, but it just basically clips in there. It's got a track that's pre-installed in these stairs, and so now that I got a little bit started, I can tell that the pocket's just a little bit that way. So I'll pull the liner a little bit to my right, and I take my big red, and I'm just looking for where the liner is not really clipped in all the way, and I just kind of seat it in there a little bit better. So now I'll come back over to this side and kind of see how far this pocket is away, and as I pull kind of tight, I'm still about an inch away. It's hard to see, but so I'll kind of like pull a little bit my way. Clip that in. Sometimes you got to pull the liner out of your way. Usually at this state, you're still able to move the liner around left to right fairly easily. You haven't really locked anything into place yet. But see, just from pulling that, I'm about an inch away. So that tells me I would want to split the difference. So I would want to have a little bit of gap on both sides, left to right. And I actually prefer when the liners are made just a little short like that on the stairs, rather than very precise. When you leave just a little bit of extra room for the liner to stretch in there, it's pretty good. So now I'm ready to go to the next step, but before I do so, I want to check that I'm equal distance up from my pocket on both sides, left to right, and I'm pretty good. I'm going to lift the liner up here to kind of release the stress on the liner. Same thing here. Just kind of lift the liner up, because as I come around to that second step, it tightens up in that area, so you just want to take that stress off. So now we'll kind of flip it up to the next step, and hopefully it'll fit good there. So we'll kind of check, or put our fingertips in those pockets, see that we're the same as we were down on the first step. And you always want to make sure that you're coming up straight and vertically. You never want to like lift up and hook to the left, or unless you're trying to maneuver the liner one way or another. So what I'll do is I kind of fold that bead down a little bit, and I'll lift up on the liner, bring it in, and I'm able to kind of just get it right in there where it wants to go. I'll do a little bit more coming this way. And now we'll come back to this side over here. Same thing, stick my finger in the pocket, make sure I'm going to be coming into the right spot. It looks like I am. So what I'll do is I'll kind of tuck that bead to that, down on my thumbs here like this, and I'm just kind of getting that bead so when it comes up and in, it's just going to drop right into that track. So I lift up and just kind of, sometimes it doesn't always, it doesn't always work out so well, but sometimes, like I said, you can get a hot water pot or one of those Bunsen burners and get some hot water. I used to use a blow dryer for years, and then some of the guys were telling me that they were doing liner tucks with hot water, and I just didn't believe them. Didn't want to believe them. And I tried it, and I love it. Hot water's the way to go. Very close to needing hot water here, but not quite. Sure, soon enough, folks. Soon enough. we keep, just so everybody knows, if you're watching this, if you're new to the channel, I install liners year round. Year round. I install liners in the snow, in freezing cold temperatures, and you might be saying, wow, how do you do that? Well, you're gonna have to stick around to see. But it's usually heat and hot water. It's just how do we apply the heat and hot water is the tricks. We're working on our top step, and things will kind of go quick. Just a matter of clipping the liner in, really, and then getting your vacs installed. And we got some main drains we got to cut in down at the bottom of the pool. And like I said, the reason we're replacing this liner today is because this liner was made and it actually had a seam separation. And those are things that are covered under warranty of your liner. If an actual seam gives way and makes a hole in the liner company will make you a new one. And usually those warranties are pretty good for a good amount of time. So it doesn't happen often, but it does happen. Nothing's perfect. So almost there. Now we'll clip into the top track here. We'll just kind of keep working our way. So on the sides here, what I like to do is just you can kind of tell where the liner wants. I know it's hard to see from this side, and I'll show you on the other side, but I like to kind of start on the side here to see that the side of the stair is coming up where it needs to. Because this is like a spot that's real tender, where if you pull the liner one way or the other, you can mess that wrinkle up right there. So once I got that, I'll kind of start coming back around and see how things are fitting. I think once we get some water in there, everything's going to be just fine. It's very normal to have a couple little wrinkles in the stairs when you're installing them. You hit the vacs and then you try to smooth those wrinkles out. And then sometimes when you shut the vacs off, those wrinkles reappear. You just need some water to kind of hold it, hold it into place. Typically, you can usually manipulate the liners, move them around a little bit better once there's water in the pool. It's not something you're trying to do nor you want to do. So now here on the other side, same thing. I come here and I'm just making sure that this little area here is right where it needs to be. And when I come up straight at 12 o'clock. I don't want to pull one way or the other. You see the way the liner does weird things when I do that? So it's important to come up straight here. And if you're not getting it straight when you first clip it in, you can always clip in a little bit of section. And you can move it one way. See, now that it's clipped in, see how I do that? See how much you can really change that, just that little bit. So you just kind of want it nice, everything straight there, no wrinkles. It's very important during the install of your liners that little things like that can go a long way. Makes all the difference in the world as far as, fighting with wrinkles, dealing with customer complaints during your install, all that stuff. Okay, so everything's going to look good there once there's water in the pool. So now that that's done, we just kind of keep hanging the liner basically. And we'll just kind of keep going around, and I'm going to show you that it is possible for one person to install a liner on a rainy day. Again, it is not something that I recommend doing. But I'm in that situation today. And I think it's important for my wife to be there on the camera for you people because you want to know how it's done. And if we get into a situation where I really need her help, we'll put the phone down. We'll find somewhere to plop you so you can still see. But for now, I'm just kind of going around. So what I'm doing is I'm trying to get the floor of the liner in a rough, good spot where it wants to sit. Kind of similar to what I'm talking about up there with the stairs. You know, where you don't want the liner to be twisting around in certain parts of the stairs. Well, the floor is the same thing. You don't really want the liner twisting around in the floor. Sorry. So what I'm going to do is we're going to wrap around this corner right here. And once I do that, alright, so that's looking decent to this point here. Now coming around these 90 degrees are a little tricky sometimes because the liner kind of wants to bunch out of the track, so that's where Big Red comes in handy. That was close. Those are the things you got to watch out for. Slippery weather. Things go wrong in slippery weather. If you're wondering if I've ever put a hole in a liner, the answer is yes. I have done it a couple times over the course of 25 years or so. So one of the first times was, believe it or not, at a state cop's house. And liner fit great, but then I was trying to install the light ring in the deep end, and the liner was just fitting a little too tight. So this is going to be a good lesson for people watching. The liner wasn't fitting very good in the deep end, and I needed to get some heat on the liner, and I had a heat gun. It's basically a torch on a handle, and got that heat gun a little too close to the liner, and it roasted a hole right in the liner, so it wasn't very good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually leave this corner out a little bit so that I can have a little bit of room down there. And real quick, what I'm going to do is throw on my knee pads. Safety is very important. Kneeling on these patios, you know, if you want to move around quick on these patios, wear knee pads. It's that easy. Alright, so what we're going to do is I'm going to come and I'm going to grab a portion of the liner and just kind of start pulling it up as I go. And I'm pulling straight up as I'm going. So right about now I'm about halfway down. I'm going to just kind of pull the liner down, give it a tack. I'm going to keep pulling it up, and I'm going to keep pulling it up till I see this there should be an arrow behind the liner here. There's a red arrow right here. That's the corner, the panel seam. So I lift that up. Everything opens up. Make sure that that's tacked in a rough spot where it needs to be. I'll come back to that side over here. Repeat the process. I see the water is already starting to collect on the bottom of the liner. So I got to keep an eye on that. I don't want too much, but I think it's going to be okay. When you're doing this, what I'm doing right now, always lift straight up. Always lift straight up. Alright. So now I'm going to grab it, pull it to that arrow. Somewhere around there. Okay. And like I said, this arrow should fall on the seam. So what I'll do is I'll clip this whole liner on this whole wall. The vinyl. It's very squeaky. I don't know if you can hear that. It's very squeaky, sticky. So the amount of water that's down there right now, that's okay. That's not a lot of water. All right, so let's see where this arrow is. I'm like right on that seam, maybe a hair short. Pull it that way. I'm gonna come over here, check this arrow. We're actually a little bit past, so that's good. So pull some of this down. We'll just clip this whole side. All right. So now at this stage, everything's kind of tightened up, so the liner kind of goes in quick, and I can just kind of work it in a little bit quicker. It's folded over weird in a few spots on the bead. That's just because it's, you know, it's not temperature enough to, or warm enough to really take all that out. But once we hit the vax and starts filling, all this will stretch in place beautifully. So we still got that corner out, which is good. Everything looks good. Stretch that in. Make sure it's in all the way. Shoot back over here to this corner. And then basically we'll start putting in these vacs, and hopefully that'll be the end. And I'll be signing off, telling everybody thank you for being with me and watching with me, appreciating my hard work. So this is tight here, but I got a little bit of slack I can pull from this side, and then I'll go right in. Okay. Not too bad. You know, in case some of you are wondering, like, why the liner's not, like, you know, sitting in the, you know, why do you have it tight in certain areas? It's, you just simply put, you want the liner to stretch a little bit, and that's pretty much it in a nutshell. Especially as it's filling up on the sidewalls. You know, I never put the face plates on until the pool's full of water. That must have looked cool, getting me crawling on camera there like that, huh? Alright, we're there. Leave a little bit out. We'll get our vac put in. I want to try to start this off with one vac. One of the other vacs that they gave me isn't working. I was just taking a minute to get that screwdriver away from the edge of the pool. So this is our vac hose. You know, a lot of guys use shop vacs and all that stuff. It's great. These are we get these from Canada. They basically take the 4-inch PVC pipe and they pinch it, bevel the end. They work great. Especially in the cold weather, these things can really be pulling on the liner. So basically I just kind of get that close, clip in as much of that liner as I can. You're always going to have a little bit undone there. And just kind of take the duct tape and tape off that gap. Now if we don't get good suction off this one vac, I have my other vac ready to go. Right near you guys, right behind you. And it's a secondary vac, it's my screamer vac. Those things suck a lot harder than one of these quiet vacs. They're a little louder. But like I said, I was sent up here. Vacs were provided for me, and one of them was actually broken. So it's a lesson if you're delivering stuff up to somebody. Always check and make sure it works before you deliver it. So we're just gonna finish. The tape's not sticking perfect, so my gut tells me that we'll be firing up that other vac, but we'll come back to that point. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna plug everything in. I'm gonna hop into the pool. I'm gonna have my assistant on the camera come over here and flip the switch for me when I give her the thumbs up. And it basically should give me enough suction to just kind of move this liner around and get it close. It might not be enough suction to get all the wrinkles out, but it should get enough suction to hold the liner somewhat in place. And then at that point, you know, I don't want to kind of keep the camera rolling too much longer. It's going to get loud. I don't want to do that to any of you. I'll try and insert some footage as we go. But we'll kind of keep you rolling to the where things kind of suck into place here, and then I'll give you a thumbs up and we'll shut the video down, folks. But here we are. Steve got a pool, installed this liner with the help of his wife on the camera. Thank you. So I'm going to go around and start kicking liners. Basically, I like to pull it up and try to pull some of this material back up the shallow end. And once I feel like I got it in a good spot, I'll say go ahead. And this is where the magic happens. Stuff's starting to suck into place. I'll go around. Just try to kick it in a few spots. You start to see some of these wrinkles start to work out. And like I said, we got one vac going. There's a lot of material over here, so I don't really want to be kicking too much material in over here. So I think what I can do is I can kind of cheat some of it over to this side. And like I said, we'll probably be firing up a second vac. But as you can see, the liner's pulling that water down on the bottom of the pool right up. And all that stuff's going right into it where it needs to. So yeah, so we're going to go ahead. We're going to fire this other vac up. I think. Maybe not. We'll let this go a little bit more. It looks, things are going really good with just this one, actually. Maybe we'll just leave the one. A little bunchy over here. Maybe I pulled too much material up, but it's coming in nice. It's coming in nice. The vac's doing a good job. I don't know. It's a tough call, guys, because I'm up here in New York. Do I want to leave one of my vacuums up here? I don't know. I think this one vac's doing it, and we're just going to leave this one. So we got some little wrinkles on the ground here. I just kind of work it all this way. Make sure all that's out. Kick it in. Everything's kicking in good here on the stairs. Everything's looking good. As it fills up, a lot of this will pull down. So I think, folks, that we are going to let it go with this one vacuum here. We're a little bunchy in this area. We'll just kind of push it into the wall a little bit. With some water, all that will push right out. Looking good, looking good. So basically, all we got to do is put on those main drains. And I got to check this one to see. There's an example. You picked me up on it. So the liner's popped out a little bit here. So it's real important after you hit the backs that you look for areas like this. And a lot of times, that could be why you're not getting good suction. That could be a number of things. But basically, I'll go around with my big red, and I'll look for all these little dimples that you see on the walls here, and I'll push them in a little bit better. I'll do that all the way around the whole track. And we're going to basically install the main drains down at the bottom of the pool. Nothing exciting there. I do have videos out there if you want to see that. It's raining out here. I need to get my equipment out of the rain. I just want to say thanks for joining me. We're going to keep putting out good content. We're not going to stop. Just because I hit 1,000 subscribers doesn't mean I'm giving up. We're going to keep going. 10,000 subscribers, 100,000 subscribers. Like it, share it, follow it. Steve Got It Pool. Thanks, guys.